My name is Hiroki Matsuchi, and you are listening to or watching Ridges, a weekly showcase of a single content creator in Japan and their content. This is episode number 12, and today we are featuring a site that's all about something that you all out there might think you know a lot about, but after taking a look at this site, you'll realize that you don't know jack. Of course, we're talking about the Japanese castle-themed Japanese Castle Explorer. I hope I got that right. So today we're going to do a little bit of an unguided exploration of, not a castle in this case, but the site. This site really is, as far as I know, the most comprehensive English language website for those looking for information about Japanese castles. And it's presented in a beautiful site, very slick interface, with lots of really nice, rich media. So let's put 10 minutes on the timer and see how much we can see. All right. So, of course, we're going to start at the homepage, and I'm going to read this brief description. Again, this is the welcome caption. What springs to mind when you think of Japanese castle? Probably, you envisage moated compounds with tall and beautifully curved stone walls atop which would sit a wedding cake-looking tower. While this is generally true, there existed a great variety of castles and towers. Some were mighty, others humble. No matter the case, each was unique and, of course, fiercely practical. Well, that's interesting. Again, I have to disclaim the show by telling you guys that actually I know almost absolutely nothing about castles and the history of castles in Japan. So let's read a little bit more. This website deals mainly with castles that were built in the late 1500s, early 1600s, as it is from this period where castle construction was at its peak. Actually, I did know that. Even if you have seen just a handful of images of Japanese castles, it is almost a certainty that they originated from this period. Castles are grouped in two ways, by condition and by region. I wonder if that's kind of a standard categorization or if this is something that's just on the site. Sorry, go back. Both of which should prove useful for people wishing to visit them. So, if you're searching for Japan's original castles, or perhaps you visit the island of Kyushu on your next trip, Japan's castles should be easy to find. All right. So, of course, why don't we drop down to the bottom and we'll take a look at some of the getting started links. So let's see, browse all the castle lists. So we have all castles, original, reconstructed, with buildings, and ruins. So now I'm, of course, interested in the genuine articles, so I'll click on the original tab, see where that takes me. Oh, wow, okay. So we have a graphical list of all of the original castles in Japan. Let's see. So, of course, when you think of original Japanese castles, at least in my case, what springs to mind is Himeji Castle, also known as, I think, Hirasagijo, is that right? Which means White Heron Castle. So we'll take a look at that one. Again, this is one that you guys are all probably pretty familiar with. But I have to admit, I've actually never been to, embarrassingly. So, of course, in addition to the castle name, both in English and the original kanji, it has information about where the castle is. It's in Hyogo Prefecture, in this case, Himeji Castle. When, 1346 to 1871. I guess those are the construction dates. Who constructed, the type of castle, the tenshu. Okay. Okay, sure. I guess is the layout or number of floors. And in addition, it has some links to other castles in the area. Oh, interesting. So, of course, underneath the kind of text description, you have this Google map. I think it uses the Google Map API. And, of course, it has this beautiful image of the castle and where it's located in Japan. And, of course, underneath, he has a little bit of history and story about the castle. I'll read part of this one about Himeji. This is Japan's most impressive, original, and complete castle. Well, good thing we chose it then. Himeji Castle features over 80 structures that are recognized as either national treasures or important cultural properties. Another highlight is the complicated maze-like path to the main tower. If any enemies had managed to enter the castle, they would have found themselves under constant fire through every confusing twist and turn. Interesting. Sounds like a pretty fearsome castle. Yeah, and actually this is kind of calling on my very limited knowledge of Japanese history, but I believe Himeji Castle was never breached. I think it remained completely, I guess, breach-proof throughout its history. And here's a little bit about the current renovation. Since November 2009, the Karameta Gate has been closed. From April 2010 to March 2014, visitors will be unable to enter the main tower, however, according to the official website. It appears limited access will be permitted depending on the work being carried out. In addition, external observation platforms will be set up that will allow visitors to watch the restoration process. So I guess the point of this is between April 2010 and March 2014, if you plan on taking a trip to Himeji Castle, you might be a little bit disappointed at the fact that you can't actually enter the main tower. Oh, interesting. That's good, actually. I mean, again, providing these kind of tips would be really useful for somebody who maybe is planning a trip to the area and trying to decide, what sites they want to visit. So scrolling down, we have some information about the various clans and their seals. Oh, interesting. And, of course, towards the bottom, we have the timeline. I guess this is all about Himeji Castle. And historical recognitions. And again, this is absolutely packed with information about these different castles. So I'm going to jump to a slightly different section. I'm going to check out the interactive map. Again, this is one that I saw him tweet out a while ago. And I was really impressed at how beautiful it was. So, of course, I think this, again, uses the Google Maps API with his own various icons and graphics. And that's interesting. He actually has castles in South Korea as well. All right, so let's take a look at the map, and why don't we zoom into a place that is near and dear to my heart. This is Shikoku, again, the small island of Japan and the place where I happen to live. So, of course, Shikoku doesn't have that many castles, but yeah, it's got a few. And I think I've actually been to most of these. And, of course, I'm going to scoot in and view the one castle, or castle ruins, in my hometown, Tokushima Castle. So you can see the interface is absolutely beautiful. I mean, again, everything is very slick, everything works really well, and everything's incredibly intuitive. So I just clicked on the image of the castle in Tokushima, and it pulled up a little blurb with an image of the gate. I think that's the Washinomon Gate in front of the castle park. Again, I think the castle is actually not existent anymore. And of course, there's a link where you can get pictures and information, and I will do just that. So here it is, Tokushima Castle. Where? Tokushima Prefecture. When? 1585 to 1869. Who? The Hachisuka clan. Oh, cool. The Hachisuka clan was the originator of the Awa Odori dance, which has become really popular in Tokushima. All right, so I'll read Tokushima Castle's story. Just a handful of defensive buildings ever existed at Tokushima Castle. Oh, well. A main tower, 2 multi-storied turrets, and a gate. Regarding the original main tower, not a great deal is known, but its replacement was said to be built in a vulnerable location, that being within the secondary defensive area. Either side of the Ote Gate once stood was the large 3-story Taiko turret to the left and a smaller turret to the right. Remaining today is the Eagle Gate. Now, there we go, Washinomon. Also, the castle grounds house a garden and a museum displaying items of the castle's glory days. As actually having visited this particular castle, I can tell you that there isn't actually much there. There's a small little museum, but again, the actual castle is completely gone. Which actually leads me to a very interesting question. I mean, if you take a look at the map, you can see that there are entries for all over Japan. Again, spanning from, let's see, Okinawa all the way up to, not Sapporo yet, huh? That's interesting. Not Hokkaido. Oh, there's a couple entries in Hokkaido. Which kind of begs the question, does the owner and operator of this site actually visit all of these different locations? And while I have seen what I think are original photos for a lot of the entries, I'm not sure. I mean, that's a lot of castles. This guy really gets around if he does. I believe the owner's name is Daniel O'Grady out of Kyushu. If he has actually been to all of these castles, that is a lot of traveling. All right, so let's take a look at just a few more castles in the Tokyo area. Again, I know a lot of you guys watching the show are out of Tokyo. So why don't we take a look at, how about something not necessarily in the heart of Tokyo? How about something in Chiba? Actually, I had no idea Chiba had a castle. All right, let's take a look at that one. Pictures and information. Inohana Castle in Chiba Prefecture. Inohana's castle story. This castle was originally built by the Chiba clan, and they managed to remain in control of it for just over 300 years. The current reconstruction dates from 1967 and reflects a much later style of castle than what was originally built. To the northeast, there remains a section of earthwork and a dry moat. As with all Japanese castles, it was built in a location that was relatively protected by its surroundings. The southern and western sides were protected by cliffs, and there was a river to the north. The tombs of the Chiba lords are located in the Dainichi Temple. Cool. Again, I had no idea that Chiba actually had a castle. When I think of Chiba, I think of just kind of an extension of Tokyo. All right, and why don't we check out one last section of the site with the last 30 seconds that we have. Let's see. Why don't we take a look at the, how about the top 100 castles? Again, everybody loves a top 100 list. All right, let's see. The top 100 castles. Clicking on the castle name will center the map. Clicking on the castle's profile will, of course, take you to that castle's profile page. All right, so let's check out the top 10 castles in Hokkaido and Tohoku. Number 10, Yamagata Castle. Let's see what happens when we click. Oh, very cool. It actually centers it on the castle. Number 9, Kubota. 8, Sendai. 7, Taga. 6, Morioka. Number 5, Ne. Number 4, Hirosaki Castle. Interesting. Number 3, Matsumai Castle. Oh, in Hokkaido. Number 2, Goryokaku Fort, also in Hokkaido. And number 1 in the Hokkaido and Tohoku region is the Nemuro Peninsula Chashi. Interesting. Anyway, so why don't we finish up here? So, of course, this is, again, a fantastic site, again, if you are interested in taking a trip to any of the castles in Japan. So if you are planning to take a trip to Japan, or if you already are an established resident of the country, please be sure to check out Japanese Castle Explorer. Get some great information, look at some beautiful media, and you can plan your next trip. And that's it. So thank you all for watching or listening to episode 12 of Bridges. Please get in touch with us over at bridges@wanwan.fm with any comments, questions, or suggestions for future content creators to be featured on the show. And that's it. So once again, my name is Hiroki Matsuuchi, and this is Bridges, and thank you for watching. See you next week.